Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Neeraj Basur, and I will be providing you an overview of the results of Blue Star Limited for the quarter ended December 2017. Prior to GST going live, revenue for previous periods included excise duty and other applicable input taxes. Revenue and EBITDA percentage for quarter 3 FY17 in this update have been computed by adjusting excise duty and other applicable input taxes from revenue. There is no impact of this on the profit before tax and profit after tax figures. Now I will start talking about financial highlights for quarter 3 FY18. Following are the financial highlights of the company for the quarter ended December 31, 2017 on a comparable consolidated basis. Revenue from operations for quarter 3 FY18 was rupees 981.30 crore as compared to rupees 872.21 crore in quarter 3 FY17, a growth of 13%. EBITDA, excluding other income and finance income for quarter 3 FY18 was rupees 51.33 crore as compared to rupees 33.91 crore in quarter 3 FY17, a growth of 51%. Our EBITDA as a percentage of revenue improved to 5.2% in Q3 FY18 from 3.9% in Q3 FY17. PBT for Q3 FY18 was rupees 30.31 crore as compared to rupees 15.71 crore in Q3 FY17, growth of 93%. PBT as a percentage of revenue improved to 3.1% in Q3 FY18 from 1.8% in Q3 FY17. Tax expense for Q3 FY18 was rupees 9.31 crore as compared to rupees 1.53 crore in Q3 FY17. Increase in effective tax rate is due to general increase in our taxable profits. Consequently, consolidated net profit for Q3 FY18 increased to rupees 18.78 crore from rupees 14.50 crore in Q3 FY17, a growth of 30%. Carry forward order book as at December 31, 2017 increased by 21% to rupees 2163 crore as compared to rupees 1794 crore as at December 31, 2016. Consolidated net borrowings increased marginally to rupees 295 crore as on December 31, 2017 from rupees 286 crore as on December 31, 2016. Our debt to equity ratio reduced further to 0.38 as on December 31, 2017 from 0.39 as on December 31, 2016. Consolidated capital employed also increased marginally to rupees 778 crore as on December 31, 2017 from rupees 724 crore as on December 31, 2016 due to growth in our revenues. I will now talk about segment 1, electromechanical projects and packaged air conditioning systems. Segment 1 comparable revenue was rupees 576.72 crore in Q3 FY18 as against rupees 532.23 crore in Q3 FY17, a growth of 8%. The segment results grew to rupees 36.19 crore, which was 6.27% of revenue in Q3 FY18 from rupees 27.22 crore, which was 5.12% of revenue in Q3 FY17. Order inflow in Q3 FY18 was rupees 566 crore as compared to rupees 446 crore in Q3 FY17, a growth of 27%. Electromechanical project business. Overall, the market demand and project execution pace continued to remain weak in Q3. Investments in infrastructure continued to be largely driven by government through various infrastructure projects like metro and healthcare, while private investments remained sluggish. Our sales prospect base remained stagnant with a drop in the office segment and growth in the residential space, mostly for fire, ventilation, electrical and plumbing services. New order booking from heavy industrial and factory segments continued to be low, and customer preference for single vendor for multi-services is gradually on the rise. Select large value investments from government and a few corporates are going the super bundle route through general contractors. While the order bookings have been improving, our revenue growth in Q3 slowed down as billings from government and few large projects are yet to gain momentum due to slow pace in concluding revised contract values post GST. The pace of billing is likely to remain slow in Q4 as well. The profitability saw an improvement compared with last year, driven by higher scale and better margin profile of certain key jobs. The strategy is to focus selectively on profitable and healthier cash flow projects, and that continues to contribute to segment results. Blue Star continues to invest in smart system and technology in line with its value proposition of superior project delivery through intelligent engineering, modern execution practices, and committed teams. Blue Star maintained its dominant leadership position in the electromechanical space in India. Some major orders won during Q3 FY18 included Bharatiya City, Medanta Hospital, Microsoft, and IIT Jodhpur. Our central and package air conditioning systems business. For this business, the overall market witnessed recovery in demand post slowdown in Q2 due to GST transition. Market growth was seen across all the product categories. Our ducted and VRF products continued to grow faster than the market growth rate. Our newly launched products like inverter ducted, VRF 5 Plus, and configured series screw chillers witnessed good growth momentum. Further, our marketing strategy of conducting product launches to penetrate key markets in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities was well received. Majors order booked during the quarter were SJR Builder, PSG College, St. Gobain India Private Limited, L&T, ITC, KC School, and Hanon Systems Private Limited. International business. Blue Star continued its focus on expanding its product export business. Healthy order inflow continued for water coolers, room air conditioners, and other applied products such as VRF, AHU, and chillers from various distributors and OEM customers. Strengthening of rupee against the US dollar and increase in commodity prices in Q3 impacted export billing in INR terms and also the profit margin. Blue Star's VRF system was approved and listed by Abu Dhabi Quality and Conformity Council. We were also successfully placed in the approved list of vendors for applied system products registered by CEO Engineering Consultancies for the UAE region. This would enable the company to sell our equipment for projects in the UAE. Blue Star's international business is currently present in 19 markets, and we are currently focused on deepening the penetration in these markets. On the economic outlook, emerging markets of the Gulf Cooperation Council countries and Africa remain under pressure. The ongoing sanctions on Qatar by GCC countries have impacted both order inflow and cash flows. Blue Star continues its journey to strengthen its brand in select international markets. Blue Star has an aggressive plan to selectively and profitably grow its international business, and overall business outlook remains positive. I will now talk about segment 2, unitary products. Comparable revenue for this segment was rupees 365.33 crore in Q3 FY18 as against rupees 286.47 crore in Q3 FY17, a growth of 28%. The segment results grew to rupees 27.08 crore, which was 7.41% of revenue in Q3 FY18 as compared with rupees 10.31 crore, which was 3.61% of revenue in Q3 FY17. While the commodities remained costlier, due to price revisions implemented in Q3 FY18, our margins were better. I'll talk about our room air conditioner business now. Room air conditioner business, which remained subdued in the previous quarter due to GST transition, returned back on the growth trajectory in Q3 FY18, with the dealers beginning to restock. Blue Star's room AC business grew by 25% in value terms, while the market grew by 20%. Blue Star's market share increased to 11.5% in Q3 FY18 on a year-to-date basis as compared to 11% year-to-date Q3 FY17. The company continued to perform better in the high energy efficient products such as 5-star and inverter ACs. With the new energy efficiency norms coming into effect from January 1, 2018, Blue Star has increased prices of all of its room air conditioners ranging from 4 to 6% in line with other market players. While it's early to pass the judgment on the summer demand, we expect that the market will continue to grow going forward as well. Our commercial refrigeration business. Overall market for commercial refrigeration products also witnessed smart recovery in demand post slowdown in Q2 due to GST transition. Blue Star grew faster than the industry during Q3 FY18. The growth was seen across all our categories of deep freezers, storage water coolers, bottled water dispensers, and modular cold rooms. Our new lines of business, kitchen refrigeration and medical refrigeration, also witnessed reasonable growth in the market with increased secondary sales. Blue Star continued to strengthen its products offerings and scaling up its business, catering to the needs of constantly growing market, and also continued to be a dominant player in the commercial refrigeration space. Our water purifier business. Blue Star's water purifier business continued to make deep inroads during the quarter. After having penetrated over 100 towns and increasing availability to 1750 outlets, the business is now focusing on enhancing productivity of all the channels. We have engaged over 400 Star Water consultants. Now these are in-store demonstrators who are available at retail outlets to highlight the superior features of Blue Star's water purifier range. These personnel also carry out activation and other field marketing activities for brand awareness and lead generation. Having gained market acceptance, the product range is being expanded to cover all the price points and customer segments. Towards this end, we launched 6 new models in Q3 FY18 under a series called Imperia. Another 6 models under 2 new series are planned to be launched in Q4 FY18. As already indicated, Blue Star expects segment 2 results to be impacted by 120 to 150 basis points for the current financial year due to investments in this product category, primarily in marketing, brand building, and R&D. I'll talk about our segment 3, professional electronics and industrial systems. Segment 3 revenues declined by 27% in Q3 FY18 to rupees 39.25 crore from rupees 53.51 crore in Q3 FY17. Segment results also degrew to rupees 3.25 crore, which was 8.28% in Q3 FY18 as compared to rupees 8.41 crore, which was 15.59% during the same period last year. Revenue in Q3 was lower due to continued softness in industrial capex and slow pace of project execution. Margins in this segment were impacted by lower demand coupled with lower realization due to sluggish market conditions. Plans are on the anvil to rejig and renew the product portfolio in order to improve profitability, and at the same time, the demand is expected to revive in the last quarter of the current financial year for this segment. During the quarter, large orders were received from TUV SUD South Asia Private Limited, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, Space Application Center, and Brakes India Private Limited. Our business outlook. The electromechanical project business environment, especially demand from construction and real estate sector, is expected to remain muted in the medium term. However, growth from the residential and light commercial segments is expected to be strong. The company will continue to make investments in manufacturing, marketing, brand building, product development, as well as human resources in the next few quarters in order to capitalize on the imminent growth opportunities. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm done with the opening remarks. I would like to now pass it back to the moderator, who will open up floor to questions. I will try and answer as many questions as I can. To the extent I am unable to, we will get back to you via email. With that, we are now open for your questions, please.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Aditya Bhartia from Investec. Please go ahead.
Hi, good morning, sir. So just want to check, was there any pre-buying that took place ahead of new energy efficiency norms in third quarter? And just in case you saw that trend, should we be expecting a fourth quarter demand to be a bit impacted by that trend?
Aditya, the energy efficiency norms, as you're aware, went live on 1st of January.
Yeah.
So yes, there was an enhanced level of demand from some of the dealers and distributors for products just before these norms went live. We saw this somewhere in the month of December, was not so predominant. However, in our case, as you're aware, our key focus has and always remains on higher energy efficient products. So even for us, we did quite well in the 5-star rated machines, which of course now will be relabeled as 3-star going forward. So to that extent, it was a good opportunity, as well as to some extent, like I mentioned in the opening remarks, we did see some restocking levels coming back pre-GST levels by most dealers. To your question whether this will impact demand in quarter 4, there could be some impact probably in the months of January and February, because once the dealers have restocked to their pre-GST levels, obviously they will also take some time to sell and then create primary demand. However, as we are all aware, the real push on quarter 4 is linked with the severity of summers and the early summers when they start setting in later this month, early March. So there will be a dependency on the weather again for us to have a visibility on how Q4 will eventually play out.
Understood, sir. And sir, both these new energy efficiency norms, what kind of price hikes were necessitated by the industry? And do you think that the complete impact of commodity cost and new norms has been passed on to customers?
So some players have announced the new prices, some players are in the process of announcing. We have increased our prices, as I mentioned, in the range of 4 to 6%. That was primarily to compensate us for the commodity price increases, which we had not done in quarter 2. And as you're aware, it was mainly because of the GST transition, which was still ongoing. So we will take stock of the competitive pricing towards end of quarter 4, post energy labeling changes, and then we will decide our pricing strategy for quarter 1 subsequent to that.
Sure. But like a 5-star AC now became a 3-star AC. So I believe that 3-star pricing would have increased compared to that of what used to be there before these new energy efficiency norms. Is that understandable?
That's correct, but that's correct for everyone. I mean, that's so it's an optical shift to that extent, but that's equally true for all the players.
So I just wanted to understand, sir, whatever would be the incremental cost now for a 3-star AC, do you think that the complete cost has been passed on to customers, or will companies be taking some hit on account of that?
So there is no increase in the cost of 3-star per se. The labeling change itself has not resulted in any price increase or cost increase. The cost pressure was there because of commodity price increases which were happening in the last few quarters. And as I mentioned, that we have corrected to take care of, for us to again get back to our desired margin levels. How much other players have done, we will not be able to comment, or we will not know at this point in time. So labeling changes by themselves will not result in any price revisions.
Okay, now because you'll be selling 5-star.
Sir, may I request to join the question queue for any follow-ups, as we
Sure.
have several participants waiting for their turn.
Sure, thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Lavina Quadras from Jefferies. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Firstly, good set of numbers. So just two things I wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
One is, see, the price hike has been effective from 1st of January, right? There were no price hikes in 3Q, or were there price hikes in 3Q as well?
We have taken price hikes in third quarter as well.
Okay, and the 4 to 6% you referred to was from 1st January in line with the rating changes. Is that correct?
I'm clarifying again. We have taken price increases in quarter 3 in the range of 4 to 6%, and that was done largely for us to catch up with the commodity price increase, which was already happening, which had already happened in earlier quarters.
Okay.
labeling changes by themselves are not really resulting in any price change per se.
Okay, so fourth quarter. Okay, understood. So fourth quarter, let's say from January onwards, there's not been too much of a pricing change.
Not yet, and as I mentioned, some players are still coming out with the new price structure, which we are studying closely, and then we will respond appropriately in terms of our various SKUs.
Okay. And so, was there lesser investment in the third quarter in the water purifier segment? Because you've seen a very good sequential improvement as well. So I thought water purifier might take away some of the margin impact for the cooling product segment. But is it that you all have seen lesser investment?
Not really. We are very much on our plans, as we have indicated, annual impact on the margin, 120 to 150 basis points. That remains true for even quarter three. In fact, to the contrary, we are stepping up our engagement on distribution and on the product side on water purifiers. Better margin, like I explained, one is of course because of the price increases we have taken, and then our scale has also gone up in this quarter relative to last year by 28% overall for the segment. So higher scale, price increases, and then of course, the overall realizations being better has given us the margin improvement.
Okay, so this is more than offset even the water purifier investments, even if I look at it as year on year or Q on Q.
Last year also we had some water purifier, because we had started water purifier in quarter three last year, but of course you're right, it wasn't so big. It was relatively small at that point in time.
Got it. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Chanchal Khandelwal from Birla Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Congrats on good set of numbers.
Thanks, Chanchal.
A lot of questions have been asked on the margin front and of the price increases. Just to understand, so 4 to 6% price increase was taken for you to hedge against the commodity which has taken. Now the energy efficiency change and reward the ratings from 5-star to 3-star. How does it impact us, if any, on margin? You will take a price increase later on, but I just want to understand the impact on margin, if at all.
So again, I'll just clarify it again so that for other listeners as well. The rating label changes are not resulting in any product change in terms of the product cost per se. So what is happening that earlier we had a 5-star rated machine which is now labeled as a 3-star rated machine. So just by change in the labeling, there is no cost change for us.
So the price of 5-star has become a 3-star price.
That is correct. So effectively, for the end customer, of course, there will be a price increase optically, because the 3-star that they will buy now, January onwards, will carry the same price as an erstwhile 5-star rated machine was carrying. And similarly, an inverter, a 5-star rated machine now will carry a price which an inverter machine was carrying earlier.
Understood.
That by itself does not impact our realization or margins. The only impact on our cost and margins was because of commodity, which we are in the process of, which we have already sorted out mostly.
Sure.
Now we have to also see of course, when the labeling changes happen, there is a little bit of realignment of prices at a level where most players then find it competitive to play. That's the part we are just waiting for this dust to settle down a little bit more, and to whatever extent we need to make any further changes, that we will do in quarter one next year.
Sure, that's very clear. Sure. Also, the water purifier, is it a better margin business, and how big is water purifier as a percentage of sales now, if you can tell us now?
So water purifier market size, we have explained earlier.
I'm asking margin-wise, water purifier is a better margin, and how much is it for us as a percentage of sales in Q3 now?
We will, as I have mentioned in my earlier calls and also several group interactions, after quarter four results are announced in May, we will talk to you more about water purifier plans. We are in the process of finalizing our next 3 years strategy for the entire business, entire company, including water purifier. So we'll have some more insights for you after we declare our quarter four results in May.
Sure. Lastly, on the MEP business, we have a very good margins. Can we further improve the margins from here, given that GST would be helpful to us? Or what's the margin guidance from 2 to 3 year perspective? I'm not talking about quarter, just
So first clarification, there is no impact of GST on the margins in segment 1 because it's a pass-through. All customers are eligible to claim GST input tax credit. So whatever we are charging is a straight pass-through for them. So there's no cost impact for us or a margin impact for us either way. Segment 1 margins, yes, they are better than what we realized last year in the same quarter. Again, this phenomena is also because is related with the kind of jobs we are able to close quarter on quarter. So there will be quarters where some jobs or few jobs which are healthier, relatively better in terms of site level margins, if they get closed out, we end up realizing a little better margin. But equally, there will be quarters that there may be quarters where some other jobs which are not so comparable on margins may get closed. That is why, while quarter on quarter there is a shift in margins. On an overall basis, we believe that segment 1 will generate 4.5% to 5% on a sustainable basis. We are already at close to 5% on a YTD basis. We expect that to remain at that level. Going ahead, also see there's still some challenges in this segment in terms of the new capex by private sector, and also the pace of order execution has been slower than what we would want it to be. So all that also puts pressure on margins. We are yet to see a significant revival in the private sector capex and announcement of new projects in that context. So at least as a outlook as of now, we don't think it is prudent for us to consider any significant change in the margin profile, which will remain 4.5% to 5%.
Sure, sir. Thanks. I wish you all the best and congrats once again on good set of
numbers. Thank you, Chanchal.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nirav Vasa from BNK Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir, and thank you very much for the opportunity. Sir, I joined the call a bit late. Can you please help me with the order backlog in the project business and the order inflows that we have recorded for 9 months and the third quarter?
Overall, I mentioned that our carry forward order book as of December 31, 17 increased by 21% to 2163 crore as compared to 1794 crore as of December 31, 2016. This is at a company level. Now for segment 1, our order inflow in quarter 3 was 566 crore as compared to 466 crore in quarter 3 FY17, which is a growth of 27%.
Thank you very much, sir. My queries have been answered.
Thank you. Time we are at 5.8, so we are hovering in that range. We're not expecting any negative per se. The only thing is, like I said, the final margin realization depends on the jobs which get closed. So there is a blend of jobs in the basket of jobs that we work on, and on an aggregate basis, that is why we expect this to remain in that range of 4.5 to 5. So the important thing for us, what we have been mentioning in the last many quarters, is the sustainability of margins at these levels, which we are highly confident that we should be able to do. So depending on how many jobs, and I also mentioned there is the execution of projects is not, the pace of execution is still not at that level what we would want it to be, which also impacts our margins. So as long as this sluggishness continues in the overall market in terms of new orders as well as execution pace, we don't think that it will be. We want to be a bit more sure of the overall execution pace before we change our outlook on the overall margin profile for this segment. For now, we think it should be in that range only.
Okay. Secondly, on the professional electronics, we used to clock consistently around 15% EBIT margins there.
Yes.
Last 2 quarters, we have come to that 7-8%. I understand, sales has been a bit sluggish. So can you throw some light as to what are the products that we say, and what is the solutions that we sell, and outlook in terms of revenue and margin for that?
Yeah. So segment 3, as you're aware, for us, we work with a number of principals, and we provide system integration and product selling support to those principals. So there are multiple lines of businesses in there, comprising of I can give some examples where we work for providing infra security solutions. We provide testing solutions. We also provide some healthcare equipment solutions and so on. Now, what has been happening in this segment, obviously, are the big chunks of our business has been dependent on industrial capex, because unless the capex happens, there further investment in testing products does not really happen. So there has been some impact of the slowdown in private capex, industrial capex, specifically around our testing products. Equally, we've been trying to substitute some of that business by adding new lines of product and services, which will take its own gestation time. And that's why we've talked about there's a need for us to rejig and renew our product portfolio for this segment. Overall, it doesn't impact our revenue or margin profile at a consolidated basis much. However, you're right. We've been historically, this has been a highly profitable segment for us, where we've realized segment margins in the range of 15% plus. We are confident once the initiatives we have taken in terms of adding new product lines, plus as there is more visibility of investments from some of our customers, we should look at a healthier order book and hence better billing and margins in the segment also.
And lastly, on this unallocable expenses, is there some one-off in the quarter, or do we assume this as a run rate?
So last year, if you're comparing our unallocable this year versus last year, we had some one-off income lines which also get netted off against this particular expense line. Examples being last year we were having some investable corpus which had accrued to us when we sold our information technology business. So that corpus was temporarily invested in the last financial year in the first 2 quarters, which generated some investment income for us. Equally, we had interest that we realized on certain income tax refunds last year. So relatively, some of those income lines are lower this year. Otherwise, on a gross basis, we are on a pretty steady run rate for our unallocable expenses, both for the quarter and for the year.
So can you maybe quantify that out of the 22 crore last year, what could be an incremental income which netted off from the unallocable expense?
We will revert to you with specific numbers in that regard.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Those were my questions.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Amber Singhania from Asian Market Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thanks for taking my question. Just a couple of things. Post the rating change, how is the situation in the dealers' end? Because what we understand is that till some time back, dealer was still selling the old product. So is the old inventory is completely out of the system even at the dealer's end? What is your sense on that part, sir?
No, it's not fully liquidated by the dealers, and as you're aware that there was this accelerated push by the dealers to restock in the month of December across all product categories. It will take them some time before they liquidate whatever they have bought in quarter 3. So as of now, what has happened is, just as a comparative point, we have the trade is back to around 60 days inventory with them, which was the case pre-GST. So right now there is replenishment of stock which has happened, which in quarter 2 and some part of quarter 1 was taking some time. Beyond this, of course, dealers will keep buying in line with the summer demand. which should now start somewhere in the month of March.
So on that way, we can see some impact happening on our sale in Q4 because dealers were already flushed with the inventory.
So as I mentioned, the inventory level is back to the pre-GST normalized levels. So that is a good part because remember there was a dip in primary sale in Q1 and Q2, and what this December push has done is to bring back that stock to the normal levels which the trade is used to.
Okay.
So to that extent, now having restocked to the pre-GST levels, whether there will be a slowdown in January, February, March, we think it is unlikely. We think market will still grow, and especially if it is supported by a early onset of summer, then this inventory gets consumed pretty fast. So we don't see an immediate concern in our mind on the overall inventory levels which are there in the trade as of now.
Okay. Secondly, sir, as we are already nearing the start of summer season and we plan generally during the Q3 for the onset of new season, what is your outlook in terms of overall industry growth for the next year? Because last year we had multiple things impacting the numbers, be it GST or demonetization and all. Now, with the clean slate, where do we stand as an industry in room AC, and what is your outlook on the overall demand scenario for the coming year?
Yeah, so our sense is market growth this year. This has been a GST year, and Q3 has been good for, like I said, the entire market also. Market grew by around 20%. Assuming Q4 is also a good quarter for everyone, we think for the market should grow in the range of 10 to 11% in FY18. The market should come back and claw back to that growth rate. Next year, it should be, our view is that it could be in the range of 12 to 15%, anywhere in that range. It will be a better year on an annualized basis because we will not have much of external disruption. So we think market will normalize back to healthy growth rates next year on a full year basis.
So this 12 to 15% you're mentioning is after considering the pricing increase because of the new rating change which is coming, because the lower price point self is now out, which was earlier the 3-star, which is now out, and the new old 5-star is now 3-star. So already there is an increase of average realization by around 8 to 10%.
Yeah, that's right. So that's why I said 12 to 15%, because see, on an average, the CAGR of the market otherwise would have been some 10 to 12% over a last 3 to 5 year basis. Because there's a bit of a realization impact on account of label changes, there could be 100 to 150 basis points further growth impact across the market.
So volume growth we are seeing on a single digit in that way?
Volume growth will be not necessarily single digit.
I'm slightly confused on that. If we are seeing a double-digit volume growth also along with 8 to 10% increase in the average realization, then the industry growth in a value term should be much higher of 18-20%.
So see, let's keep in mind there will still be a large market which will buy the 3-star rated machines, and what will now be rated as single star. So there is a mix issue also here. I mean, obviously, if you assume that the entire market shifted to higher rated, let's say 5-star and inverters, then what you're saying is correct. However, our assessment is maybe next year around 50% of the market will be higher rated, will buy higher rated products, which is a combination of 5-star and inverters. The other 50% will still be the lower end of product market.
Okay. Fine, sir. Just last question, if I can squeeze in on the order inflow side in the project business. If you can just give some idea about the funnel, Kitty, for us in the coming year in terms of large orders, And also, if you can give some context about the Mumbai Metro bidding for HVAC.
Sorry, I didn't follow your first question. Can you please repeat that?
Sir, just an order pipeline in terms of large orders coming in this year for project business, and also if you can give some color about the status of Mumbai Metro rail bidding situation status.
Yeah. So you're aware that we share the composition of our overall order book once a year. We do that, and as and when we get any large orders, we talk about that after we have closed the orders. So we will maintain that. Mumbai Metro, you're aware, is currently actively being tendered. So we should get to know the final outcome there in the next couple of months. That certainly is a large tender value which everyone is looking at.
Bids have been submitted, sir, in Mumbai Metro?
So that process is going on. It's a multi-stage process. It's currently going on.
Fine. That's all from my side, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to our participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question at this time, they may please press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Ranjit Shivram from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Congrats on good set of numbers.
Thanks, Ranjit.
Yeah, sir. Just a small clarification. Like when we used to see 3-star around 60% of the volumes happen in 3-star. Now with the new rating change, you are the previous 5-star will become a 3-star currently. So the 60% might come to 50%. It won't go to a 40%. So then if you look at a relative 3-star to 3-star comparison, the realization would have increased by 12 to 15%, right?
So complete your question, then I'll respond.
Yeah. So in that sense, like previously 5-star, I think 20% of the market where the volumes were lower. Now that same 5-star which was previously is now a 3-star and is addressing a market of close to 40 to 50% of the volume. So you are getting a scale here. So then there can be a thought in terms of you can be having higher bargaining power while negotiating with your suppliers. So don't you feel that there will be an aggression in terms of the 3-star to 3-star pricing difference can be around 10%?
See, there will be two things which will happen. While the overall market shift for inverters will happen, which is already evident. So on an aggregate basis, the 5-star, the 5-star machines, current 5-star and the inverter machines will have definitely a higher overall aggregate share as far as the market is concerned, and that's what when I said that we think that overall current 5-star or previous 5-star current inverters should be in the range of some 50% going forward. But there will still be a market which will be a non 5-star, which is, let's say, comparable with the existing 5-star machines, which will be rated as a 3-star. And there overall we don't think that price realizations will shift so much to cause an overall 8 to 12% aggregate realization impact across the board. Secondly, what will also happen that the market for the entry level, which today is 3-star, which will be there. I mean that market won't go away. The entry level market probably will be rated lower than the new 5-star. The new 3-star will be probably the big belly of this market going forward. That is why on an average realizations will improve, but will not go to the extent of some 6 to 8%. So somewhere in between, some 3 to 4% is what we are anticipating the realization impact on an aggregate basis, considering 50% market will move on to higher energy efficient products and the remaining 50% will still be lesser energy efficient products, which is the bulk.
Sir, just if I want to draw a conclusion to this, you mean to say that overall market will shift to five-star and inverters. Is that understanding correct? From a three-star inverter three-star inverter market, the market is likely to move to a five-star and five-star inverter market.
Half of that market, that's what we are saying. Half of that market will shift to the higher energy efficient market, products, but there will still be a half of the market which will continue to buy the new 3-star. See, earlier somebody would have bought a 5-star, will buy a 3-star now. That's the difference.
But again, in that case also he has to pay 10 to 12% higher price because the current 3-star is basically a previous 5-star, right?
That's true. So someone who was earlier buying a 3-star will now probably go a step below. That is the other 50% of the market.
So
See, that market, to assume that the entire market will shift to the new 3-star, which was the old 5-star, and the new 5-star, which was the old inverters, 100% market shift, we are suggesting may not happen so quickly, though the trends are moving in favor of inverters. Our own assessment is it will be only 50% of the market which will move, let's say, in the next 1 year. Therefore, so there will be the 1-star or something in between 1-star and 3-star, that market will still remain going forward.
Okay, and has that shift towards inverters, are you seeing in the market because as per the new rating, inverters and the ratings is converging. Previously there were 2 rating systems, one separately for inverters and one separately for 6-speed. But as per the new rating, both are converging together.
Yeah, there will be convergence.
So then ideally a person who has planned for a 3-star, if he's seeing a 3-star inverter which is 5-6% more expensive but is much more energy efficient, he should ideally shift. So is that situation happening in the market? What's your...
It's too early. So we are not having any clear trends as of now. But definitely the overall aggregate inverter sales is on the rise. So let's say in quarter 3 around our understanding is 20% of market sales was inverters, which is higher, if you look at same quarter last year, it was much lower. So obviously the overall trend in favor of inverters, which is nothing but the new 5-star, is on the rise. But at the same, so it will be a mix of inverters and what will now be the new 3-star. So 3-star and 5-star or inverters put together, our senses will be 50% of the market sales going ahead. The other 50% will still be other products which will be slightly lower on energy efficiency and also lower on price realization. So that's the clarification I'm trying to give, where we should, I mean, we are not assuming that the price realizations will increase by around 6 to 8%. So on an average, half of that, probably around 3 to 4%, one can assume that that will be a positive impact because of this product mix shift.
Okay, because historically we have seen 1 and 2-star preference is very low because generally people try to play it safe by going for a 3-star AC. So with this change in rating system, has that really happened or not? We just wanted to get
early. That's what I'm suggesting. You see, it's right now, as you're aware, there is some old stock also in the pipeline because that has to get consumed first fully, and secondly, so that will take some time. And secondly, for people to start pushing a 3-star at a higher price will also take some more effort. So while what you're suggesting may happen over a slightly longer period of time, but in quarter 4, our point of reference is quarter 4. We don't see that happen in 1 quarter itself.
And has every AC manufacturer introduced their new line of products, or are they still waiting?
Well, our understanding is all large players are, you know, well stocked with the relevant range of product SKUs.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is on the line of Tanu Lunia from Kotak. Please go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon, sir. I just have two questions. My first question is, can you just tell me for the unitary unitary segment, what is our capacity utilization at present, and what are we have purchased through land at Samba and Sri City. So, are we planning to do any manufacturing or setting up a plant over there?
So our capacity utilization ranges from 80 to 85% depending on which production cycle we are talking about, but that's where we are tracking. We will be in the next few quarters, completing our plans for enhancement of capacity, for which we already have land in these two cities. And as and when we are ready with any further announcement, we will let you know.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is on the line of Varun Agarwal from BOI AXA Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Hi. So basically this question is related to previous
Varun, we are able to hear you, sir. Can you speak up?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, please.
This question is with relation to the previous participant question. So just to understand a bit more about the upper end of the market, like 3-star, 5-star, and the market below it, like 2-star or 1-star. So how is competitive scenario there? Do we see more competition in the second half or the first half? And how's been your experience in terms of competitive scenario pricing in the market? Can you please help with that?
Yeah. So as far as Blue Star is concerned, our predominant focus has always been on the premium and the higher end premium end, which is 5-star inverters. Just to get you a sense, I mean, in this quarter, 63% of our overall sales is from that segment, which also helps us in overall growth perspective. And for the full year so far, it's been close to 50%. So we will continue our predominant focus on these two segments, which is 5-star and the inverters, which will be 3-star and new 5-star, whichever way you want to look at it. Having said that, as I clarified it to the last question, there is still an aggregate market also is around 30 to 40% comprising of these two products. So there is still a big market, some 70 to 80% market, which is not 5-stars, not inverters. So these would be erstwhile 3-stars, 2-stars, 1-star, and entry-level products, which will comprise of a significant amount. As far as the market is concerned, we don't think that portion of business will shift to a higher energy set of products very quickly. It will take some time. Yes, of course, there will be better adaptation of the new 3-star over a period of time. However, in the immediate next few quarters, we don't see that shifting radically. There will be a slow, steady, but over a period of time, that shift may happen.
Okay. So one last question. On Mumbai Metro, you told us that the bids are being submitted. Any quantum of bids on the amount? How much are the bids total for MEB in particular, or HVAC in total?
See, all that is being worked out. As I mentioned, it's a multi-stage process, and the tender documents and the various details are currently being worked out across the process. So we will be able to share specific details with you as and when there is something concrete once it emerges, as and when it emerges for us.
Sure. Thanks a lot for answering my question. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is on the line of Urvil Bhatt from India Infoline. Please go ahead.
Hi, thanks for the opportunity. Just one bookkeeping question. There was some 2 crore share of JV loss that came into the P&L this quarter. Just wanted to understand the nature of the same. Thanks.
Yeah, so you're aware we have these joint ventures in Malaysia and Qatar. And Malaysia, Qatar, and Oman. There are 3 joint ventures that we have. So there are a variety of small ticket jobs which we keep closing in both Malaysia and Oman. By the way, Qatar qualifies as a subsidiary, so even though it's a joint venture, technically it gets consolidated line-wise. So it's Malaysia and Oman, which are from an accounting point of view taken as a joint venture and associate accounting. So in this quarter, we have again closed some jobs where we have accounted for the final job margins, which is the number that you see.
So this is more pertaining to this quarter and should not be assumed on a sustainable basis. Is that understanding correct? It keeps on varying from quarter to quarter. That's what.
So it will vary from quarter to quarter depending on which jobs get closed. This is exactly the point I was also making on the segment one results, where there will be jobs which will be more profitable. In this quarter, whatever margins we have concluded for jobs which have been closed out, that's the number that you see. But of course, there will be quarters when this will be a little better. Overall, we are not having any significant exposure outside India in these two JVs. The overall values are small.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Lavina Quadras from Jefferies. Please go ahead.
Just one thing. I know it's a little hard to comment on a specific competitor as such, but you do have a very premium brand, which is Daikin. There is a lot of talk in the media that they might. So the thing is, I've not seen any news that the company is planning to reposition itself from a premium brand to a normal segment or a value segment brand. But there is chatter, for example, that they're dropping prices below levels of other companies which are in that value propositioning brand. Now again, there are a lot of these contrary reports, because when I speak to some dealers or when I visit some stores, it's not the case, but in some stores it may be the case. So sir, I just wanted to understand, are you all hearing more about this, on some repositioning of that brand or anything on those lines that you could comment on?
So Navina, I think I will keep it a generic answer rather than comment on a specific competitor. As you're aware that we are competing in a fairly tight space, and the top 6-7 brands are quite well respected, regarded, reputed. We continue to watch and monitor the pricing and the distribution strategy of all our peers closely, and we frame our response as appropriate. And you're aware, in this particular category, there have been also in the past many instances where one or more than one player has tried to become a bit more aggressive on the pricing front, and we've been through those phases, and we've handled or responded adequately, appropriately those phases also. So in other words, we take cognizance of all the market forces appropriately in our distribution and pricing strategy, and we'll continue to do that going forward as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Aditya from Investec. Please go ahead.
Hi sir, just a follow-on question. You've kind of indicated that water purifiers and other new product categories would be resulting in a loss which is equivalent to roughly 1.2 to 1.5 percentage points for this year. How should we look at it going forward, and by when would you expect these categories to start contributing to margins? That's the first one.
Yeah, water purifier, we are right now restricting our indicative view only for FY18. As I have mentioned, when we declare our quarter 4 results in May, that is the time we will give you some more specific insights on our plans, growth plans and market share plans, etc. on water purifier, including by when we expect water purifier business to break even, etc. So kindly bear with us till quarter 4 end.
Sure, sir. Sure. And otherwise, on the room AC side, like you mentioned, for the projects business, that 4.5 to 5% should be looked as sustainable margins. Any indicative margins that you can guide for?
So again, this year we are we are quite optimistic that 9.5 to 10% before considering the impact of our water purifier business investment is what we expect segment 2 to be able to deliver.
Understood, sir. Thanks a lot. That's helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question from the line of Abhineet Anand from SBI Cap Securities. Please go ahead.
Sir, on this again on the unitary products, we're saying that 1.2 to 1.5% impact, but if I see YTD numbers are flat.
Yeah.
So are we, and then again also I had this question which you answered on the segment when both these segments, while management is guiding a bit lower margin, I see YTD numbers are far better off than what you are guiding. So are we being very conservative in this manner?
Well, the YTD numbers that you see will be on again on revenue, which includes some excise duty last year. Yeah. So that's one part, and then the water purifier impact is there. So the flat that you see is actually a large part of that is because of water purifier. Otherwise, we are pretty much in that range of 9.5 in segment 2. Segment 1, I've explained in quite detail in response to some questions early on. For the current year, our view on segment 1 margins to stay in the range of 4.5-5 because again the final margin realization is indeed dependent on some of the jobs that get closed, and as a basket, that's what we believe we should be able to sustain.
Okay, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question. I now hand the conference back to Mr. Neeraj Basur for closing comments. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. With this, we conclude this quarter's earnings call. Do feel free to revert to us in case any of your questions were not fully answered, and we will be happy to provide you additional details by email or in person. Thank you very much and good day.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Blue Star Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines. Thank you.